everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm out at the cabin today working on the chinking on the west wall on the outside. Now the chinking inside is all done. In a little bit I'll take you in, if you bear with me, and we'll go through what I've done inside. Right now it's just too hot. Even the cabin is pretty warm inside, so I've been trying to do this outside stuff because it's been one of those summers. It's mid-August and it feels like mid-July. It's hot, humid, but no rain. You know, it's kind of a unusual summer for us. Here in north central Wisconsin, we're not really used to the heat. We never really get used to the heat, so that makes it difficult for working on this project. But it's coming along pretty good and I'm pretty happy with it. I've had a couple questions I'd like to address right away. First of all, I've had people ask, why would you do the round logs, or whatever, why would you not have flat-sided logs? And it does make it easier. A lot of people, when they build these cabins, they buy a kit, and in the kit, it basically comes off a sawmill. They bring the log to the sawmill, they flatten the sides. When you're done, you have very little spaces in between the walls. In between the logs and the walls, and you don't have to do a ton of chinking that way. Also, the inside makes a nice flat wall. Now, if you're going to build a house, a log home, basically that's probably what you want to do. If you're going to drywall parts of it, you want to have, modern electricity and plumbing and all that stuff. Yeah, you probably should do that. That makes a nice wall. It's flat, almost like sheeted wall. You can still drywall it and stuff, but out here, this is an off-grid cabin, and I'm not going to live here full time. It's just a recreational thing. It's kind of my outdoor studio, I guess, for my YouTube channel as well. So, it was easier and quicker to do it the old-fashioned way. Now, back in the old days, and by that I mean, I suppose pre-1900, when they built these cabins on the continent here, they basically took exactly like I did it, peeled the logs and stacked them together and made walls, and then when they chinked them, they used clay and straw, clay and grass, and they chinked it all in. And of course, every year I would think they had to go back and patch it. Now, hopefully I won't have that problem. The chinking I'm using is basically masonry cement, and I use a masonry mix. I use professional grade Quickcrete mason mix, so it's got the sand and cement all together in the right proportion. Just add water. So I try to keep it thicker than thin, and it sticks really well. Once it's dry, it is solid. I did the whole inside that way. Outside, I added a pigment, and this is I think they call it color match, whatever, but this was green, or is green, and hopefully it'll stay green. I did the south side about a month ago, and that stayed pretty nice. It's not supposed to fade, and it looks good. I just wanted some color on the cabin, and so we opted for this. To me, it looks really nice, and guaranteed once it's in there, it's stuck. So that's what I've done with the chinking. Now, I'll take you inside and show you what has been going on since my last video. I haven't had time to post anything, so let's see what we got. If you bear with me, let's see what we got. Alright, you can see I got the south side, or basically the front of the cabin, chinked. And there's the door, and then also I got oak on the porch area and a small set of steps going up. It's about 1.5 feet off the ground on this end, basically. And so yeah, I did work on that recently and got that pretty much done. Alright, now we'll go inside. Okay, as you can see, I've been working inside. The entire inside is chinked. And then there again, that was just concrete mortar mix, but no color. I wanted it white. It's dark enough in here. It's not a dark, it's not super dark. It's got pretty good windows and stuff, but it's obviously it's going to be darker probably than a regular building, regular house. This I built. This is a solid oak. This was cut with a chainsaw mill. I cut it last winter, and we were working on that. That actually is going to be the same, basically the same lumber I'm going to use, you know, to build a little bit of cabinets, and we're going to have a stove over here, and you know, the basics to get by with, you know, when you're off grid, you know, gas stove and that kind of thing. Yeah, and then of course up here is the loft, and I'll take you up there in a second. All right, now from this angle, the camera's on the south side, facing north. So in the northwest corner, right here, we're gonna have our wood stove. So we got this little guy in here, and it'd be plenty big enough to heat this place, I'm sure. I got this from a friend of mine. His dad was replacing it with a bigger one in his workshop, and said I could have it if I helped him, you know, put the new one in. And the new one was like twice as big, of course, but this one is just the perfect size for here. So I'm pretty fired up about that. It's even got a glass window and everything on the door. I mean, it's used, but it's not overused. And, you know, it should work great. It's even got a little blower plug-in deal, which probably isn't gonna, it can be either or. And I probably am not going to use that much anyway. We'll see. Like I said, it's an off-grid cabin. I am planning on having, you know, basically 20 or 12 volt converted to 110, and having some lights and stuff. And maybe I'll have a plug-in so I can flip this on quick and really heat the place up fast, which would be pretty nice. But we'll see. That's down the road. I still got to get a chimney set up. Instead of going through the roof, we're going to go through the wall. I'm going to take metal lath and attach the chimney, hopefully get double wall pipe to work, and that's what we're going to do here. Hopefully that'll work out nice. So, and I actually put oak underneath it, so it's just like the oak of the stairway. I cut it very hard. It's underneath it. It's on a pedestal, so we'll see how that works. It should be okay. Other than that, you can see, like I said, I still have to do a lot of finishing in here, cabinets and shelving, storage areas, and you know, it's a small building, and got to make it comfortable. The loft is actually, square footage wise, is bigger than the bottom because of the overhang, but you know, this is basically, when I measured it out, it was supposed to be 8 by 12. Well, the way the logs and everything turned out, I did make them a little wider, so it is 12 this way, but it's about 9 wide. So not huge. And then of course you got your porch area, but I mean, that's, you know, neither here nor there. The upstairs, of course, is about 9 by 20. So you got the thickness of the wall and the overhang over the porch, and I think it's actually 9 by 18. So. But again, it's a loft, so you don't have like a full upstairs. So I just couldn't build it any bigger. I really didn't want it any bigger, and it's bigger than I initially intended it to be. I'm glad I went this big. Bigger would have been harder. This way, basically, all the big logs, you know, were like 15 feet, 14 feet long. And then the shorter logs, of course, you know, were 12 feet or 10 feet, depending on where they were at. And it gave me some room to work with, you know, because you got to have some overhang so you can put your notches in and all that stuff. Yeah, it's all stuff to think about. So, well, let's grab the camera and run upstairs quick. I'll just give you a quick look. I don't have the gables completely done, but the north or the south gable is done. And the floor is done, and it looks okay. It's almost ready to finish up there. I plan on insulating it, insulating the roof, of course, and insulating the eaves and all that. And then the floor, I put thermocell flooring insulation, you know, moisture barrier stuff underneath. So hopefully this floor will be good enough for insulation. And you want to check out my previous videos. I have a playlist, and other than that, let's go upstairs. Now, if there's anything that's kind of inconvenient, it's the loft way, or the way you get up into the loft. And it's not a huge stairway, so it's not a huge opening, but it's doable. And if I can do it, anybody a little bit smaller than me will have no problem doing it. So, and let's go up there and take a look. Let's see if I can do this without whacking my camera. All right. Now the loft is not finished, of course. Everything's got to be cleaned, but that's what the window in front looks like. You can see the opening. I got to finish all that gable. It's no problem. We'll have that finished soon. And the back. Actually, it's a really nice view. It's the north side of the river. I mean, the north side of the cabin facing the river. You got the high bank, you can see. But yeah, there'll be a big window here. And hopefully, yeah, have a nice view of the cold north. Well, that's what it looks like inside. And like I said, we're coming along pretty good. South side's done, outside, the west side's almost done. I got a little bit to do on the bottom. I'm going to put lath around the bottom to keep the critters out from underneath. You know, I don't know if it'll help. It can't hurt, you know. Other than that, you know, that's where we're at. I do have a question for everybody, if you'd be so kind. I've named the cabin already, and I'll have it in a different video. But I'd like everybody who's ever thought about it, if you build a cabin, if you would build your own cabin, like your dream cabin, what would you name it? What would you call it? I mean, you hate to just say, oh, I'm going to go into the cabin, you know, or whatever. What would you call it? So I'd really like to hear everybody's ideas. Please put them in the comments below, and I'll get back to you. You got any questions, just to ask. Maybe I can help you. Like I said, I've never built a cabin before, but now I guess I have pretty much, and it's been an adventure. So other than that, like, subscribe, share, helps me out, and thank you very much. We'll talk to you again.